All right, welcome back on RealCopStoriesVideos.com. Over 370 cop stories. Please look them up. Gross alerts, fun stuff. I mean, I can't describe all of them. They're all my babies. 99% of them I observed. Well, 99% of them I did, and 1% I heard, observed, or was part of it. Pretty good stuff. Okay, in addition to that, over 200 question and answers. So if you're going to ask me a question, I'll respond to you directly, and we'll put it on video. If you want to ask me a question, email me at rsbcopstories@gmail.com. Okay, this is another cop story. I was a trained, well, I'm going to go in segments here. Let me start off. When I was a rookie working East LA, one of the largest hospitals west of the Rockies, or actually west of the Mississippi, is in our jurisdiction. Is USC Medical Center. It's huge. It's huge. There might be another big one in Frisco, but this is the biggest. It's been there since the 20s. I mean, it's just looks like a big Gothic design thing with ramparts on the top of the buildings, and you could put cannons up there and fight off the British. I mean, it's really an old building, but it's been there forever. And they've added so much to it, added to it, and added to it. And so, as a preface to what I'm going to tell you about, back in the 60s, and it really came out when Robert Kennedy was assassinated in the 68, I believe it was, because they had a morgue downtown. It was under the jail, under one of the buildings. It was a county courthouse, and in the basement was, on one side was the jails, and the other side was the coroner's office. Everybody had a key to those doors. There was hardly any doors that were secure. So when Robert Kennedy got assassinated, he was dead, obviously, so they took him there. And since it was not a secure building, people were cutting pieces of his coat off, pieces of his hair, part of his shirt, to take souvenirs. And these are people, most of them are probably some kind of either coroner people, some law enforcement, some deputies, who knows? But he was being basically, souvenir hunters were in there, okay? Because there's no way to secure that thing. They even though he was a VIP, I think he was a senator at the time. He wasn't running for president. I don't even think he was that. It's not as if it was a president or somebody like that, where you have to have security around him. He was someone that got killed, a candidate, and he's already dead, and he's laying there to have an autopsy done on him, and then obviously to be transported to his family. So you don't normally protect someone like that with police resources unless the family wants private security. You're not going to have, anyway, in those days. Subsequent to that, in the late 60s, early 70s, right before I came on, they built a new coroner's office, off-site, brand new, near the USC Medical Center. Huge building, I mean huge. And one of the drawbacks on the first one was security. This one was like, it was a fort. I don't think there was any windows. It's just a huge 2 or 3 story bunker, okay? You had to have keys, you had to be authorized to go in, you had to be authorized to get in and out of there. And like the old one smelled. Remember now, it was just, they'd been adding air conditioning because it was an old building built in the 20s and 30s. This new one was completely ventilated. In other words, air conditioned and odor put in, because you can imagine sometimes, well, you should imagine, bodies decay really bad. A lot of stuff in your body. Can you imagine all the stuff in your body when you're alive, when you go to the bathroom both ways? Acne, cysts, pimples, all the stuff that humans have. Imagine that what it has when someone dies, that everything starts to disintegrate and gurgle and produces gas and smell. So this new place was pristine. So when I was a young recruit, my partners took me in there. Okay, and they took me in there primarily, they told me later, to gross me out. Okay, because I was a young guy, and they didn't realize my background. And I went in there, and I'm looking at these bodies. They had a receiving area. I'll explain this. Why not? They had an area where the coroners coming in from the field back their vans up to this, like a huge garage bay thing, kind of a huge garage doors. Back them in. Then they have the holding areas where they put the bodies on trays and put them into air conditioned or cooled coolers. Look like basically like large ovens, waiting to be transferred. And they're all outside, put in there. And then when they have time, they're very busy. Then they roll them out, take them inside to a mud room where they prep them. When they prep them, meaning they're going to get the fluids out of them and get the smell out of them. Because when they get from there, they're going to go inside the actual building, okay, which is another secure area, ventilated and all that. So there's several stages. So, I got out of the car, and I'm a young rookie, and I walk in there, and of course the coroners, they're all doctors, except for the helpers. They know who the rookie and who the trained officer is. The trained officer's got the stripes, an older guy. Here I'm standing there with my eyes open looking around, and they try to, hey, look at this one. They're pulling out these trays with these bodies laying there and looking, oh, that's pretty good. They got they're they're decaying, they got wounds where they fell or they broke an arm off or something. And some have worms, some have ants. That's why here's where they clean them up a little bit before they put them in the next room. So I'm looking at oh, cool, there's one for the gunshot wound to the chest. Oh, yeah. The trainer was looking at me. What's going on? I don't know. You look at me, aren't you getting grossed out over this? No. Oh, why not? Oh, 7 months ago I was in Vietnam on a rice paddy up to here with oxmanure. I think it's really because it strokes me out, doesn't mean anything to me. Oh, geez. You know, they're getting in the corner goes, oh, man, we're trying to see if we can get you to throw up. That's our goal in here. Can you imagine the coroner's goal is to get these young guys to throw up, you know? Because they get, remember now, this is a county coroner. So you have LA County and all the city agencies within the LA County, our agency, other towns of different sizes. These are where all the bodies go, you know? I mean, so I got a tour of the place. Now, I'll show you the tour now, I'll tell you later, but you know, it's neat. You have they have the reception room, they have the ante room, then you have the clean rooms, and you go in there and they have several, like a half dozen rooms that are sealed off where they do the actual autopsies. They had one going over there, you know, and they have a microphone. It's like on TV, they have a microphone. The doctors, there's two of them in there with helpers. Detectives are in there. They got their masks on because it's a homicide, and they're explaining. You can hear the microphone. They hear the speaker. They're explaining what they're doing. Now we're going, you know, we're up to the thorax. We're over here. You got the rib cutters, you know, cracking open the ribs, and you know the liver weighs this much, the heart weighs this. They're taking all the stuff out and weighing everything. A bullet hole here. They're taking here's hole out the bullet, and they give it to the homicide guy. Who takes it in the envelope. I mean, all this is going on. Oh, that's interesting, you know. And I don't know what goes on there, but the terrain officer telling me that they probably do a good half dozen of these every single day because it's county-wide, huge county. I mean, our city is 451 square miles. You can imagine the county's probably twice to three times that size. So a lot of moving parts here. Very interesting. And of course, the place it smelled like, you know, peach blossoms. Kept it really nice and clean. And walked through rooms where all the bodies were ready to go for either funeral homes or burial, where all the bodies are basically wrapped up, and there are righteously toe tags. We used to talk about toe tags in the old days. They're bound up like look like you should watch the movie like The Mummy, where they're all like wrapped up like a mummy, you know, wrapped up in the sheets. And then on the bottom and on their feet they have a little paper tag where everything's going to go, and they're all lined up in these rooms. A lot of bodies in there, you know, and you walk through like an aisle, and they're all there. And but when you go to the room before you go into the room where everybody's wrapped really nice, that's the interesting part, because the bodies have been there 12 hours, 20 hours before they got cleaned up, and you'll see this, you know, that's interesting. Now that could be almost a scary movie, you know, like they're laying there, or they got one arm like this, and then you see like that, you know, that's expected. I saw that in Vietnam where they were telling me about that Lego move, and I've seen a torso actually lift up a couple inches and go back down. And I have a friend of mine's a nurse that knows all about that. That's common. But if you're not used to seeing that, and they tell you this guy's dead, you see half his head blown off, and all of a sudden he's moving his arms, you get kind of freaky. Like, whoa, what's going on here? Okay, so anyway, so they showed me that. That was my exposure to that. And it didn't bother me because, big deal. I mean, I've done it before. I've seen this. It's not a big deal. They're all disappointed. Get in the car, and we're driving back out to do police work, and my train officer goes, well, that was a waste of time. I go, yeah, nice try. He goes, yeah, now that I know you a little bit better, you know, because I was a rookie. You know, he didn't know what to expect out of me. I was out of the academy maybe a month, and he follows some of my rookie stories. Rookies, you know, advance in their own speed, but I advance pretty quick when it comes to that kind of things, because I'd seen it a little bit and done a little bit, you know. Something like that commercial. We've seen it all. That's why we're here, or whatever. But so now fast forward, I don't know, 7-8 years later. Now I'm a train officer, and I got a recruit with me. I have a very, very nice and very smart Jewish kid. Okay, and so we went to a call where he had an older gentleman that had to be found. He wanted to visit his friend, so 11 o'clock at night, he took a bus to one of the worst gang infested areas in the city to visit his friend, you know, and they're all like 90 years old, and that was heart-wrenching. And we brought him back to this home and let him play with his siren and, you know, the PA system, and had a good time with the poor guy. And I thought about my dad, and after it was over, the rookie, because remember, I hate to go off here, but we're walking through these homes, and we're in uniform, and the people just come out and look at us, and in wheelchairs, and people just want to touch us because nobody's visiting them. It is so sad. Oh my gosh, you know. And the place smells, and it's just depressing. My mom was in one of those places for a short time. My dad passed away at home, so thank God he didn't have to experience that. But it's so sad. And so my rookie partner really had a hard time with that. We finished the call, got in the car. He just sat there, and just like Latin men, boys, and Jewish men and boys, you know, very close to their mothers, and he sat there and said, my mom's getting on in years, and oh man, I said, yeah, and you appreciate him when you have him. He goes, yeah. I mean, it really struck him. He was afraid that his mom would wind up in a place like this. Because remember, we're human beings, So, a couple weeks after that, as caring as I am, I take him to the morgue. Call the, I get my supervisor. I said, I think this kid needs to go to the morgue. So he needs, because he's getting along with his training, and he needs to see that. He'd been out of the academy about 4 months. He's a couple months away from being a regular officer, so he needs to be exposed to everything. Remember, not sitting there making widgets and doing drawing in an artist's place where this is police work. And you should see it in a controlled environment, bodies like that, instead of being rolled to the scene of a shootout and there's somebody laying there gurgling and that's your first exposure to that. You might wind up throwing out your dinner. Okay, you don't want to do that. You're here to take over, control the situation, restore some order, take care of people, take care of the public, and that's what we're here for. Babysit, pretty much. So, go take him. So we drove over there, and it was all back when I was there. Took him in there, took him in the front door. They have cameras everywhere. You're walking, hey, come on in. Here's the coroner. Come on, hey, how's it going? And again, he sees who the trained officer is and who the rookie is. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how you doing? And the doctor, he's got, Dr. So-and-so, and shakes my rookie's hand. Oh, good. And the doctor goes, oh, warm hand, that's nice, something warm. And he goes, oh, he pulls his hand back. And again, he's a very sensitive Jewish guy. He's a good kid, but you can just see that this is the wrong thing for him. He goes, oh. He goes, oh, relax, man. We're the only people in this building that are alive right now. Oh, come on, man. Lighten up a little bit. I'm looking at her like, oh my gosh. So we started to show him this stuff, and he did okay, my rookie, but you can see a lot of the stuff, because he never was in the service, and so he college educated, and actually, ironically, he came from a government agency. I won't say what it is because I don't want to expose who he is, but he came from a government agency which he felt was not challenging enough for him because he had a college degree and all that. So he came to be a lowly policeman, which was very challenging, he said, because of all the things, because of life. The other job he had was more administrative inside. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to come out and see what it's like out here in the real world, so to speak, and he really enjoyed himself. He had a great time. Very sharp guy. So, so we're walking through, and again, went to that first ante room. I call it the mud room, which right after they bring him in, farm fresh, where there's still body parts and they're still soaked in goozing stuff, gooey, whatever. And walking in there, and of course he's seeing things move, and the coroner's with us, and he's a really nice guy, the coroner, after the jokes, and he explained to him how this happens, why it happens, and he's very good. He didn't gross eye, he just looked, man, that's interesting, because you can, and he looks, oh, that one just moved. Well, go and look at it. And he goes, it's not going to come out. He's telling me, not going to bite you. He's already dead. There's a lot of dead humor here. Boy, you talk about firemen and cops have humor. These guys are incredible. So he goes, yeah, he's already dead. No big deal. And then we went to one a girl had died of a drowning, and she was like 19 years old, blonde. He goes, you got to see this one. You got to see this one. I don't know what he's talking about. He pulls out the drawer, and here's this pristine girl, naked, of course. And we look over like, she drowned. And he goes, look at her, man. She's in perfect shape. I'm going, oh, come on. The guy's just looking at her like this, like it's meat, like it's a prime rib cut at an expensive steakhouse. I go, well, that's okay. And I'm looking, going, he's right. I mean, it's just a perfectly preserved girl that just died of drowning. There's not a mark on her. Well, everybody else has got, they're blown up and they hung themselves. Or this is like, he just saw, look at that. Isn't that pretty? He rolls the thing back and goes, oh, I don't want to be here at night when this guy decides to go over here. I don't want to know what's going on here. Okay. I don't know. These guys are really strange. But the look on his face, he's all excited and proud of this poor gal that's drowned. That was the weirdest part of that thing. But so he handled it really well. I'm running out of time here, but did really good. We got in the car and drove back. It was a little bit of a drive back to where we came from. He goes, thank you for taking me. That's very interesting. I said, well, you'll see stuff. And he did, obviously, when he went on in his career. He saw things like that. And you got to be prepared for this, and non-military personnel especially. Because the military, for the most part, you see things, although not everybody's in combat, but at least you see life. And you don't see life in college, especially now with protecting the kids, safe zones. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'm out of time. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.